Good morning.
Hi,
Hi.
how's it going?
For me, every day's a good day.
Oh, that's
Good
amazing.
answer.
All right.
Good answer.
That's awesome. Oh,
How
Ikra.
about you gals?
Ikra?
So good.
Good. Okay,
Um,
I'm just waiting for Terrace. I
oh,
missed the last couple of meetings. Sorry.
no worries. So glad that you're here today.
And
Yep,
we
me
also
too.
have replays if you miss us a lot. You can watch the
Yeah,
replays.
you can rewatch for sure. I'm
Yeah, I'll
actually,
squeeze. I'll squeeze that in between feeding the donkeys, the birds, and the goats. Sure, I can
that's
find time for
amazing. That's awesome. Oh, and Jen is here. All right. So I always like to start with the same question. So from a scale from 0 to 10, 0 is I have absolutely no energy. I don't even know how I'm breathing right now. And 10 is I have so much energy. My cup is so full. I can give some to other people. Where are you at from a scale from 0 to 10, from zero energy to all the energy in the world? Six. Ikra is six. Yep. 6, 5, 8. Okay, well, six. Hopefully you leave a little bit more uplifted. We'll see how we do. Today's call is very, very important, so deep, and we are talking about our thoughts that are weighing us. Hey, Daddy, thoughts that are weighing us down, and we're going to be reflecting nice. We are going to be reflecting on how these thoughts are preventing us from being our best self, from doing our best work, from being happy, and they completely change our life. They change how we act, how we show up, how we interact with people, how we interact with our kids. And they're sneaky. They're so sneaky. Um, and so we'll start by saying that we are not our thoughts, right? We are not our thoughts. Our thoughts happen the same way we experience the world, but we are not the world. So we experience thoughts, they come. And sometimes they're scary, sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're angry thoughts. But the thought itself is not real, it's just a thought. Right now, within 2 seconds, I can think that I'm awesome and I can think that I'm terrible. I can think of a polka dot elephant. I can think of a flying pig. I can think of anything, right? And it doesn't mean that it's real. And so we need to think about it from a place of curiosity because this is when we get really empowered. We can question our thoughts, we can change, reframe our thoughts, and we can really get our mind to generate the thoughts that bring us where we want to be, where we want to go, in the state that we want to be in, right? So, in the past, Sangeeta had coached somebody very powerfully, and if you don't mind, Sangeeta, bringing that back, that great memory back for us.
Yeah, and we had asked somebody what they were stuck with, what were they dealing with, and she came forward saying, "I have a really hard time. My son's so different, um, and when I take him out, to the playground, whatnot, it's really hard for me." And so we kind of dug. Remember, we dug a little bit, and we're like, "What is the thought? What is the thought that is tripping you up?" And she had said, "He's so different."
Mm-hmm.
and we did coaching around this.
Because
And
if they went to the park or something like that, it was really hard for him to interact with other kids, and she felt like almost like maybe they shouldn't be here, or like it was
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
isolating.
Yeah, exactly. She isolated herself. So we wanted to ask you guys, who here feels that way? Um, and my kid is different, and that holds them back. Who has that thought alive and well in them, and
The
would like
thought
to have
was,
big.
I think it was, my kid is different and nobody understands him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so who has a similar thought and would like to be coached on it, and who's brave enough to be coached on it? Because honestly, we all have that thought in some way, shape, or form, because guess what? We're all human and none of us are perfect angels. I'd like to say I am, but so um just give you guys like a few more moments to share and see if who would like to be coached on this.
I could jump in. Ready. So this a day and a half ago, I took my daughter Sky to my cousin's son's birthday party. So first time we've been invited to something like that. She immediately wanted to escape. I separated her to go into the front patio, and then she wanted to run into the yard, which turned into wanting to run into the street, which turned into wanting to go into a complete stranger's car. She said, red van," like she was trying to escape. So then we got her back inside. It was quite busy. There were some other children with autism too. You know, and then some kids tried to interact with her. She was totally aloof, and she finally calmed down with watching a show and playing with Legos. But she didn't want to go out where the little magic show was, or the balloons, the trampoline. There's just too much going on. And we're also in discussion with the school where we're pretty much on the homeschool route, because seeing her in that environment where there's family and strangers, but that should have been, that's usually a milestone for children. They like to go to birthday parties. The excitement of it is a good thing typically. My other daughter was a bit overwhelmed too. She has autism, but a different side of the spectrum. She's verbal, so she always gets dismissed as like, she's fine, she's fine. But you see her in that setting and she freezes. She just freezes. There'll be people walking all around her. She doesn't know what to do with herself. So it's just one of those situations where you're like, I knew this, but it was a reminder of, do you even go next time? I know she needs the exposure, but I was just afraid of her trying to escape the house. And then people are coaching me saying, don't worry about it, she'll be fine. I go, yeah, but you didn't see 10 minutes ago she was trying to get out the gate, and you guys, it's not locked. And other people might think she's a kid who won't necessarily escape because they always say she doesn't look like she has autism. So it's a weird situation to be in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And who? So I don't have your full name, by the way. What's your name?
This is Tara. Hi.
Tara. Hey, okay, it says
Hi.
good day, good day. So I
Yes.
wanted to. Okay, okay, okay. Hi, Tara. Um, so um, So, question for you. Thank you for sharing that whole scenario. And I'm sure everybody has a similar version of that scenario. So, let's break it down into the thoughts. Okay, let's break it down into little pieces. So there's a lot of different elements happening here, right? There's a lot of beliefs, there's a lot of thoughts going on. But let's try to just simplify. Let's just hone in on one thought. So, from this scenario, what is the one thought that is kind of disturbing you, upsetting you? What is the one thought?
Just that we have to curate our lives, and the entertainment for my children, and just the life experiences separate from these other spaces where there's bulk people at any one time. Even her school setting, where they try to tell me, oh, kids always get adjusted after they get there. But then I think I've told you before, there's the instance that had me bring her out when she's having medical issues on top of things. But they had like 3 to 4 adults holding her at every limb. And I'm like, that just doesn't seem like something I should force her to get used to. Like maybe that's just not her mode with all these kids running around and having to make sense of it. I mean, I just don't know how to make it where she can acclimate, but also feel safe and comfortable and not forced, not in a state of
Okay,
stress.
okay. So, Would you say that this thought, she doesn't belong in busy environments, is that something that is kind of going on for you? Am I naming it correctly, or would you name it
It wouldn't
differently?
be far off from that if it was anything else. Yeah, I think yeah, that
Yeah,
fits pretty well. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Or she's not safe in a busy environment, or she
definitely
can't
not
be
safe.
safe.
Definitely not
Yeah,
safe because she's trying to escape, even if it's a safe.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And would you also say that people don't understand her?
I think they get it. I think people know by now. There's lots of parents dealing with this kind of situation, and I'm not looking for understanding. What am I looking for? I don't know. An alternate universe.
Yeah, I need an alternate universe. Okay. Okay, got it. So let's just deal with that she doesn't belong in a busy environment. Let's just give that an example, and I don't know where we're going to go with it because we don't really know
Sure.
where these thoughts
That's
go, but
great.
let's just
Yeah.
work on that, okay?
Okay.
There's a lot of things that come out of that. She doesn't belong in this. This is what your recent discovery is. She doesn't belong in these busy environments. So when you believe this thought, what happens in your body? So just if it's possible, ground yourself, come into the body, feel like feel present in this moment, and just say that thought to yourself. She doesn't belong in a busy environment. And when you say that, what images come up? What thoughts come up? How does the body feel? How do you feel?
Um, a stable strain throughout my body because,
Uh-huh.
like, in my arms and my core and my legs, because I have to be in go mode at any moment to follow her or catch her, be a step
Yeah,
ahead of her.
yeah.
And then it's always kind of like you think of what what can I do? What environment can I craft that can kind of give her some of these joys, but without the anxiety she's experiencing?
Okay, so you're trying to figure things out. What are the feelings? What are the feelings when
Um,
you think about the scenario that you just went through? Because that
yeah,
this she doesn't belong in a busy environment came from that
right.
scenario, right? So what are the
The feelings
thoughts?
are
What are the
isolated. It's
feelings?
isolating because you're just like,
Okay.
oh yeah, it's like I kind of knew this was gonna happen. Not that you preface that, you want to think
Yeah.
better, But I was prepared for it to happen. Let's say, but I didn't know to the extremity that she would be so resistant so fast without having being able to witness a little bit more of the fun stuff because we showed up before like the fun stuff happened, but it was definitely too busy for her. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm an adult and it was too busy for me, like it's not necessarily an environment I would just be like, yeah, let me be here every day with this amount of people running around. And it's shorthand. There's a lot of people that I hadn't seen in a long time. It's my cousin's friends, people I know, they know me, and it's just almost like you're in this situation of social catch up, and no one actually gets past two or three sentences because they're like, "What's going on with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, a little bit more of this, like this, the managing of the children situation," and I don't think of my life outside of that. I don't like I
Mm-hmm.
used to have. I mean, my goals are shaped around what can I do for them. It's not anything about what I can do for myself. How can I help with community and society? When my brain used to always go there, but now I'm like reduced down to
Yeah.
that. But also, that's my most important role, so I don't think of it as like an unimportant thing.
Great. Okay, great. So if you can just hone in on that strain you feel in the body. Okay, hone in on that strain when you think this thought, she doesn't belong in a busy environment. Um, and and then you mentioned you feel like you feel isolated,
Yes.
shocked. I wrote shocked.
Like a
Any other
rigidness,
feelings? Any other feelings around this?
like a rigidness in my mind and a rigidness in my body.
Okay, in body and mind. Okay, so now, now, now you're going to be in an imagination world with me, but it's a beautiful imagination world. Now, if you could not believe this thought, if you could not believe this, not now you mentioned rigidness. So if that rigidness became expansiveness, and you could not believe the thought right now, she does not belong in a busy environment. If you could never believe that thought again, how how would you feel if you could never believe that thought again?
Good question. I have to think about that.
You're not even sure.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Try
because
try
my
it on.
empathy is owed to resolving what her experience is, and mine is secondary. And I get we're models, but at the same time, I don't know how to. I don't know how to put myself first because I'm. We're less important than the happiness of our children. Maybe someone could say that's not true because obviously modeling is important, but
Well,
I don't know how to
you
move
remember,
that.
in an airplane, we always say that we have to put our gas mask on, the mask on first before we can mask up anybody else, right? So if you're
Yeah,
unmasked and you're trying to mask others, you may go down faster than everybody else, and then you won't be able to support people. That's why they say that in airplanes, right? So now we're trying, I know it's hard. Now we're trying to put the mask on you first. So we're like, okay, if you could not believe that thought ever again, she doesn't belong in a busy environment and all the things that come with it, who would you be? Just imagine if you could guess how you would feel, even if maybe you can't even imagine feeling that way, but if you could, how would it be for you if you couldn't think that thought again?
to be honest, it's hard to not feel like that would be irresponsible because I think about how I'm. I know her on a deeper level that the biggest concern is always if something happens to me, not knock on everything, when something happens to me, kind of thing. Who's going to have the patience for her and know her from the inside out that she can actually have resolve in a moment instead of be like, oh yeah, well I don't know how to help her, um, you know.
hmm hmm So we're doing an exercise in thoughts right now. We're doing an exercise in thoughts, and I'm not asking you never to believe this, and I'm not asking you never to defend her or never to stand up
You
or
know,
take
it's
actions
hard to
for
not
her.
be stuck in that. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
try.
we're trying to free you, to show you there's something on the other side that may even be more helpful than
Yeah,
she doesn't belong in busy environments. There could be, there could not be, but we're just being curious. We're just exploring like Dora the Explorer. We're walking in the world of thoughts. And these are just thoughts that I want everybody to get. These are just thoughts. These are not the ultimate truth written in stone. They're just thoughts.
And
And
while
thoughts can,
Sangeeta is doing this with Tara, I see that like in the chat,
yeah,
um, there's other there's other thoughts that are showing up, right?
okay.
Like people don't believe me, or
People don't believe.
I'm afraid that other kids won't know how to interact. Like I think adults are okay, but how won't know how to interact with my kid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then someone else says, I'm not worried about kids. I'm worried. So Ikra says, I'm not worried about other kids, but I'm worried about how adults interact. And then Lisa says, I struggle from the attention that he gets at the park, the stimming and kids coming up to him and he can't answer. Um, and I worry about my child's future. Um, and then Ikra also said, I have so much anxiety when I think of taking Inaya to my home country. I will need help with that. Um, um, and so I think that like we can all, so the same exercise that Sangeeta is doing with Tara, as they're doing it, you can do the same with the thought that you're having, right?
Yes.
Like it's
Yes.
and hi Angela, and you can so you can do this work. So find the thought that is difficult for you, that is weighing you down, that is challenging, that is chasing you. Hi Ella, hi Danny. And imagine as Sangeeta is walking you through this, imagine who would you be without this thought?
Yeah. And I get that it's so hard to let go of our thoughts. Like, Tara, you just said something really really powerful. You're like, I feel irresponsible. You feel irresponsible if you didn't think that thought, because you believe that that thought is making you do all these responsible things. I would argue, but I'm not arguing, but I would argue, lack of a better word, that there's something deeper, more beautiful, more powerful in you that is doing the work to protect your child. It is not that thought. It's not a thought that does that. It's something deeper. However, we're talking about thoughts today. So, people have, people don't believe me. Kids won't know how to interact with my kid. I'm worried how adults will interact with my kid. So these are your thoughts. Okay. So how do you feel when you believe this thought? People don't believe me. How does that feel? I know when, if I'm not believed, I feel frustrated. I feel angry. I just don't want to be around people. I just don't want to be around them. I just want to run away when I believe that people don't believe me, right? Um, and so it's easier when you can write it down. It's easier if you can just write it down and go through that, the process. And Tara, I can't see you, so I'm not sure how my words are landing for you, because it's hard. It's hard, when I'm not sure if my words are landing in a way that's helpful. I hope so. And I'm just asking for a thought experiment right now. Just there she is. Hello. Okay, good. I can see you now. Okay, so I can't hear you.
Hi, Sangeeta.
Sorry. Her friend just showed up, so I had to get her up.
Okay, no worries, no
But
worries.
I think that the easiest way to get me there, where you're saying, is sorry, baby shifting.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, guys. Is to put myself in someone else's shoes, where you see a parent struggling or a child struggling in a public space, and you're like, oh, I know what your experience is. So I guess if we turn it around and like say, remind ourselves that we're not alone in this, that maybe they can have someone to connect with, just to give you a different setting.
Hmm. So the thought that created the struggle, right, was that she doesn't belong in a busy environment, right? And then
Right.
all the feelings that came with that. She doesn't belong in a busy environment. It came with all these images of like no more taking her there, of her running away, all the chaos that it came with, right? So
Yeah.
that's what happens when we believe a thought. A thought can disempower us or empower us. That's, even though thoughts aren't real, that's the power the thoughts have.
Sure.
So I want you to try on, um if you couldn't believe this thought, okay? So you
Uh,
leave that, so imagine you leave that environment where you were just there, all this happened, but that thought didn't cross your mind that she doesn't belong here, she doesn't belong in this kind of environment. If that thought didn't cross your mind, who would you be? How would you feel? I know it's hard to imagine.
it is. I could say it frees up time to employ other things to entertain her, but it's hard to take yourself out of there. But I understand your thoughts can shape your reality, especially if you're regurgitating a script all the time and then you're just living in that, versus trying to pull yourself out of it. So I understand it falls on us to fix that.
Yeah. So here's what keeps happening. So thoughts weave stories, and stories create anxiety. Story upon story upon story upon story upon story. So you're weaving a web of anxiety around you right now. And I'm trying to pull you out of that web, and just temporarily, you can go back in it. Absolutely. You can jump in it, bounce in it, no problem.
I'm not
Temporarily.
good at tricking myself.
We'll give you, so maybe we pull ourselves aside for a
Yeah.
second,
Try
and
someone else. Yeah, someone
I
else might
give
have better luck.
I give you a couple of examples, okay? And maybe you'll see where we're going with this.
Okay.
So I'm a medical student. We are in 2010, I think this happened. So we go to the hospital and we're just learning to question patients, and we're in the hospital and we're at the bedside, and I passed out and hit my head on the ground. And then like my colleagues are around, I open my eyes, I'm like, oh, like what happened? And they sit me aside. Now, now a whole bunch of people are like, I'm embarrassed. Like the patient is asking me how I'm doing, and like, which usually it's kind of the other way around. And so I can leave the hospital that day with multiple different thoughts, and this actually happened. Um, I can decide, well, clearly medicine is not for me, because I mean, if I'm gonna fall and bang my head every single time, then at some point I'm gonna end up with some serious brain damage. So maybe I just, like go do something else, work in an office or sell flowers. I don't know, anything. Or I can tell myself, like, it's uncomfortable. I'm not trained yet. People are sharing things that are very difficult, that are triggering a lot of things in me. It's also pretty hot. I'm wearing like my clothes and my lab coat, and it was an isolation room, so we had to put an extra gown on. So like I can have these other thoughts, and I can think, well, first of all, next time maybe I take out my lab coat if I'm putting the extra gown, knowing that it's going to get hot. And with training, I'll handle these situations better. Maybe I also think, well, maybe I'm gonna advocate for myself a little bit better, where like if I start feeling uncomfortable, maybe I ask to take 2 minutes, to like go breathe outside of the room. Maybe I bring water. So I'm better hydrated. Maybe I squeeze my calves. I don't know, other things. But if I have the thought that if I had the thought that the hospital environment is not for me, well, guess what? Like, I've been working in hospitals for the past 10 years. Like, so that would have been the end. I would have not become a doctor. We would probably not be having this conversation right now, right? And many of my colleagues passing out when they would see blood, like all of these things, right? And now, and so there's the power of yet. I don't know if you've ever used this in your life, but sometimes things happen and you can say, well, my kid will never handle a birthday party, or restaurants are not a safe environment, or we should never go to an amusement park. Like we can have thoughts like this, or we can have a different thought. That is not the thought that we have that is making us like fight or flight. We're in fight or flight. We're fleeing, right? Like we're like, never again. I'm not going in there ever again. Which does not mean that you need to go back right away. But if the thought becomes either what can be different, or she did not have the emotional regulation that day, or something was especially triggering that day, or she's not ready to handle this kind of situation yet. And then when we add the yet after, what kind of thoughts maybe would show up for you? If you're thinking she's not handling this kind of environment yet, does it open a door for you? Does it open the possibility that maybe there are steps, that maybe she'll get there eventually, but maybe there's a roadmap there? Or so like I'm throwing things at you to see like if there's different kind of thoughts that you can have that is not necessarily this is not for her, because that becomes very black and white and categorical, and and maybe there's other thoughts that would be just as true or truer.
That did help. I think that the way I thought of it as you were saying that is kind of like, the terminology for children and autism and services is like, what's the preferred item? What's your preferred thought? That she can be like a leader in her own space. That's instead of, hiding in the shadows. And yeah, I don't want that thought, the negative thought, to be the scripting thought for her and hold her back and her feel that, just like they feel if we have anxiety about the food, I don't want her to have anxiety about stepping into a new space and experiencing it in a positive way. So yeah.
So her grandpa just said, Paul just said, she plays at the pool with other kids on a more limited basis. So I think what he's saying is that it's not black and white. It's not like she does not belong ever at all in a busy environment. I think that's what he's saying. Paul, is that what you're saying? You're just suggesting that perhaps there's a little bit of an opening here, right?
Sure.
And and so before we move forward, I think, Tara, what would be really helpful for you and maybe helpful for everybody else is to just give yourself a little compassion. Oh, hang on, Georgia. What if the thoughts are coming from my son? Example, he's saying, I don't want to be in this universe, or why can't everyone else be like me? Well, then we have to work with their thoughts at their level, right? I mean, and very carefully, right? And very lovingly. And so in the same way, Tara, like we have to meet your thoughts with a loving energy, not with like, oh my God, I can't change, I can't shift out of this, you know?
I
Um,
wasn't at the party, but there were 40 people there,
that's
and
a,
it's not that
that's
big a space. That could be
yeah,
overwhelming for any of us, not just for.
yeah, yeah, Paul, good point,
Well,
because you did say, Tara, that it was also overwhelming for you, right? You also mentioned that it
yeah,
was,
that's not a normal situation. Yeah. But
and I would tell
what
you that it would be
George,
overwhelming for me too. Like it would
yeah,
100% be too much for me. 100% I know myself, right?
what
Um,
Georgia said struck me because, you know, we sometimes it takes a lot for them to say something out loud. Imagine how many times they have these thoughts themselves, and then he actually came to say it to himself and my daughter as well in the last month on multiple occasions. Instead of just being frustrated and living in that and not saying anything, she's been also saying, "I want to die," when she's crying and upset. So like
mm,
what do you do with that? That makes you
That's
feel like you really
really,
can't let your guard down because that's how they feel because they don't know any different. And you know, when you're young and even you're a teenager, I mean, I was depressed when I was a teenager. I don't let myself be depressed now because I feel like I know better. There's other routes to take, like you're trying to go to something better thinking, but they're not there yet. And this is their
mhm,
only life experience. So it's really hard when you hear a 5-year-old say that. And I'm like, are you mimicking something you saw? Because she will see like a she's on the phone, she'll see like a crying emoji or something like that, and she will sit in that and start crying and be upset. My husband the other day said she was on the phone, she started crying all of a sudden, and she had a like someone who was crippled and couldn't walk in the video, and she said she started mimicking that behavior, like she couldn't walk and like it's like it paralyzed her. So
mm.
you know how sensitive they are, and then they start saying it out loud. You're like, how do I shift course with this without actually getting her out of? I don't know. But we're all here to
I
try. You know.
think I think that this is definitely a very difficult moment, and this is when like giving yourself compassion for witnessing something that's really difficult and your child struggling is really important, and
Mhm.
acknowledging that it really hurts and making sure
Yeah,
that you're giving yourself what you need. Um,
yeah,
and I also think that this is why we're having this conversation right here, because if we believe that thoughts are true, then we believe that their thoughts are true too. If you learn that your thoughts are just thoughts, then you learn that her thoughts are also just thoughts. And if
right,
you
right.
learn a path to explore your thoughts, to explore where they come from, to get into your body, to really like to really get into what you're feeling and to understand where your thoughts are coming from, if you understand
Mhm.
that you're not your thoughts and that just because you have a thought, it doesn't mean that it's true, and you understand how to pull yourself out of this, then this entire journey, this entire path, you can teach someone else and you can teach your kids. And so right now, when
So
she
can I
says,
ask a question to
yeah,
everybody?
go for
Can I
it.
just while you're explaining this, Milan, I'd love to ask everybody. So she doesn't belong in a busy environment. What are some more empowering things that we can say to ourselves besides she doesn't belong in a busy environment? So one thing, one thought that I think could be truer than that or as true is I don't belong. So Tara does not belong in that kind of environment because you're trying to watch for the best, for the safety of your daughter and for the happiness of your daughter. And if you're overwhelmed, what in the what how would she be feeling, right? Somebody whose nervous system is so sensitive. So this is another thought, that I don't belong in this busy environment. Another thought would be like she belongs in a peaceful environment, right? So that's another thought you could have. And I would love to hear from other people. What are some other thoughts that could empower Tara in this situation? And if anybody wants to share, and Milan, and you guys can continue. Sorry.
You want them to say it out loud? Oh, Danny
Or
raised
you
his
can
hand.
just put it in chat. Put it in chat is fine.
I,
Or
Go ahead.
yeah.
I was just going to say, there was one thing I heard a mom explain in context of her and her daughter having a conversation that was along the lines of, why can't everyone else be like me? Or they were struggling. And she ended up telling her daughter, you know how you're good at some things and I'm not good at some things? You know how I'm good at some things and you're not good at some things? I must be autistic too. And she said that shifted everything for her daughter. And ever since
Oh.
then, she was okay, and it was a good perspective because it's true. We're not all good at something. So it was sweet. Yeah. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah,
That's
thank you. That's
amazing.
very sweet.
I see
Yeah.
that Danny unmuted himself. Go
Sure.
ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, guys, I have to sign off here real quick because I gotta go to work. But I just want to share something. I heard someone say a quote that the problems are in the past and the anxieties in the future live in today.
Hmm.
And my biggest issue is the anxiety that I have. So what I started doing, I just started kind of just self-motivating myself and basically saying that autism will not take my joy away, and
Mm.
keep saying that to myself. Whenever I have a
Mhm.
tough moment, I just say, autism will not take my joy away. And I keep saying that to
Mhm.
myself. And it
Mhm.
helps. It does help.
That's
And I just
great.
want to ask you guys for a favor before I sign off. We're going to Panama next week. So if there's any prayer warriors out there, keep us in prayer for Mercy Travel. And I pray that we have good news when we come back from Panama, because I know all the struggles that all the parents and grandparents are going through with this. It's a day-to-day moment. Um, so I'd like to ask you guys to pray for us and to keep us in prayer. And I would love to come back and have some amazing news of the accomplishments we had with the stem cells. So I'm going to be signing off, and thank you for everybody for your time.
Thank you, Danny.
And oh,
Good luck, Danny.
Lindsay says another empowering thought,
Thank
Tara,
you,
could
Paul.
be another empowering thought can be, we can go places that increase their confidence around going places. So that's another way of saying it that is positive, that is empowering, that gives you more options versus shutting the door on your in your mind. Does that make sense? I hope other people can also kind of feel that kind of shift. Right. There's a blender going in the background. Sorry about that. And Ikra, I know you jumped on board to, you wanted to say something, so feel free to say something if you need to. Did you have anything to share, Ikra?
Hi, how are
Hi.
you?
Good, good. Thank you.
Sorry, my phone just hanged a little bit and then I came back and I thought you were talking to me. Sorry
Oh,
for that. Yeah. It keeps hanging sometimes. I don't know why. Yeah.
oh, okay, okay, okay. Because
Because I
I
put
know
a
you mentioned something, and I
Yeah, I
and
did
yeah, okay,
mention, so I thought you were talking to me. So yeah, that's why.
okay, okay.
Yeah, I was having these thoughts about taking Inaya to Pakistan because it's difficult, mostly because people don't understand what is autism, especially
Yeah,
the grannies, the aunties, they don't really understand. They say,
yeah,
yeah, she was the first kid, she was alone, you were having a hard time, and that's why she's like that. They will never say, yeah, she's autistic or she's different whatsoever. They say, no,
Yeah.
no, she's fine. She'll be fine with her brother. And see, she's improving with her brother. She never allowed other kids or anyone to hold hands. But now, when her brother holds hands and keep moving in the house, and now at school, they are seeing the difference. Wow, Inaya is holding hands with the other kids, and she's allowing them to
Ah,
come closer to them. And this is a big milestone for us. It's a huge achievement. And yeah, she is definitely doing things which she did not used to do before because of her brother, which is amazing. But there are certain things, of course. For example, my house is childproof. I do everything. I don't leave small objects which they can put in their mouth here and there. I always keep track of what they are doing, whatsoever. Because in Pakistan, I can't do all this. It will be a free environment. I'm really scared because even today, Inaya was playing with a toy. It's kind of a sensory toy, but it has some spikes and rubber spikes, and she pulled them off and she was chewing on them. And I
Mm.
saw that and I panicked because once she ate a piece of glass and things like that, she
Yeah.
always swallows them. She does not take out the object which is in her mouth. It's impossible to do that. And today we finally took it out for the first time, me and my husband. Yeah, but it's scary. All these thoughts are scary because
Yeah.
adults, they don't really understand autism, first of all, and secondly, the thoughts that she will swallow anything and things like that. These thoughts are scary for me when I think of taking her back home, because
Mm-hmm.
I have to go. My mother is not so well, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, within a couple of months I have to go see
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
So
want to
so
take, sorry.
yeah. Go ahead,
I
Milan.
just wanted to take a step aside and to reflect on how control is very difficult. It's something that we do to feel better and more at peace, right? Like having thoughts of control, doing things that control the environment, control the child, control other people's thoughts. We try to control a lot of things because it makes us feel safe. And when we think that an environment is not safe, and whether it's an environment with many people, whether it's an environment with small objects they can put in their mouth, whether it's an environment with adults that either don't believe or don't understand, um, we don't feel safe. We either don't feel safe for ourselves or we don't feel safe for our children. And then we start thinking about all the things that we can potentially control for them to be safer, and as a result, for us to feel better. And I think that as you keep going in this conversation, I'd like for everybody to start thinking about what are the things that we're trying to control in our lives. And is it working? Is it not working? How is it making us feel? Right? So sorry, you guys go on.
Yeah, yeah. And so Ikra, so my question would be, what is the thought that makes you scared to go to Pakistan? Is it that they will not understand her? Is that the main thought?
no, it's basically the secondary. My main concern is about her safety.
So, going to Pakistan will make her unsafe. Is that the thought?
Uh, some people, they tell me that the people who have kids on spectrum, when they take them to Pakistan, they say they because the children, they see a lot of people, they have more communications, more interactions, and they sometimes, one of my friends told me that her child started speaking when they went to Pakistan. So yeah, of course I feel better about these things, but yeah, about her safety, for example, I don't trust everyone about Inaya. I
Yeah,
will
yeah, got it,
not
got
leave,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
And
things
what's
like
the one
that.
thought that what's the one thought? What's the one thought that is really getting you about this situation that's scaring you? Because you keep saying you're scared. So what's the thought
Yeah,
that scares you?
this the most scary part is Inaya putting everything in her mouth,
So Anaya might
her
put
oral
everything in her
fixation or
mouth.
whatsoever it is. Yeah, it is the
Okay.
most scary part for me.
Okay, Anaya will put everything in her mouth.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
that scares you.
Whatever she
Okay,
finds on the floor, everywhere, when she goes to park, she finds a pebble and she will definitely put it in her mouth. So that is the most
that
scary part
scares
for me.
you.
Yeah,
Okay,
of
okay,
course.
okay.
She might
So
choke or swallow. Yeah.
yeah. And so I think this thought is really like, Milan, you can tell me what you think, but in all my coaching work, I would say that if you're talking about the actual physical safety of a child, we're not playing games with that. You know what I mean? Like, then it is true that we have to kind of help you regulate yourself to protect her when you go to Pakistan. There's nothing that I can really say about shifting that thought. That I'm scared because Anaya will put everything in her mouth. My only question would be to you: Is it true? Is it true, Ikra, that she'll put everything in her mouth? Like, if you really sit with that thought, I'm really scared that Anaya will put everything in her mouth. Is that true?
Yeah, sometimes maybe, yeah.
Okay, sometimes it's true. Or is it all the time
Yes.
true?
Yeah, because for example, here we know every corner of the house is, for example, safe for her, and we keep track of everything. And when I see an open environment, a big house with a lot of people and lot of things, then this thought comes into my mind that yeah, there are
Mm,
a lot of objects which she can swallow.
yeah.
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 So
So
And
correct me if I'm not really getting your question.
is the thought then that someone else's house is not safe for my child?
Maybe, yeah, it's my mother's house. Maybe it's not that safe. Yeah.
how about the world is not safe for
Yeah,
Anaya?
exactly. Yes. It's also, we have to protect them all the time.
So
When
the
we go
world
to
is not a
park,
safe
when we go
place.
to, when we go out, I have to tell her teacher to keep an eye when she goes to the playground, because she also says the same things, that she will find everything and chew on it.
Okay. Okay. So let's work on this, okay? Let's see
Okay.
let's see what comes up. I don't know. Let's see what comes up. So the world is not a safe place for Anaya. So when you believe this thought, the world is not a safe place for Anaya, what are the feelings that show up for you?
I think anxiety.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Fear.
fear, yes, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. How does it feel in your body?
Um, I feel a little stressed and
Yeah.
tensed, maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, tightening feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So this is not a thought that is liberating for you, right? It's a thought that creates a lot of anxiety for you.
Yes.
So imagine, if you can, we're just curious right now, Ikra. We're just curious. We don't know what's going to show up. Let's just be curious. So
Yes.
if you could never believe that thought ever again, the world is not a safe place for Anaya. If you could never believe that thought,
Mm-hmm.
how would you be? How would you feel? How would
So
your body
relaxed.
feel?
So relaxed. Finally relaxed. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Finally relaxed. Yeah. Your mind would be more peaceful.
Yes, I will be okay, Inaya, playing around and not just tracking her all the time,
Hmm.
that she might eat anything. For example, once we went to my friend's house and she found a pill which they left on the floor, and she was
Mm,
going to eat that.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I always have to keep track of her. So I will be
Yeah.
very relaxed to go somewhere,
Yeah.
go out in the park and everywhere.
Hmm. Hmm. So the thought the world is not a safe place for Anaya creates fear and anxiety and stress in the body. And when you
Yes,
don't believe the thought, there's much more relaxed. Finally, the mind is relaxed, the body is relaxed. You're a
yes.
little more
I can
free.
enjoy, yes,
You
I
can
can
enjoy.
enjoy while she's playing around in the park and everywhere.
Got it. So now let's try the opposite of the world is not safe for Anaya. So let's try, we're going to find thoughts that are as true for you as the world is not safe. Okay, so let's try the world is safe for Anaya. So tell me three examples in which the world is safe for Anaya. Tell me three ways in which the world is safe for her.
I can't really explain the three ways. One way, she will not find a small objects and do things like that, and don't put herself in a danger. Yeah,
And
mostly.
you know what I mean is like in reality, in real life, how is the world a
I
safe
think
place for her?
in reality, the world is never safe for anyone. Yeah, it's always
Yeah,
we are
that's
exposing ourselves to everything.
yeah, yeah. And in
Yes.
reality, that I can step out the door right now and I can, I can be hit by a car, right? So
Yes.
the
At
world
the
is
same
not,
time, in reality, there are a lot of things about the world that are keeping us alive as opposed to trying to kill us. Because
you're right.
otherwise, if there was nothing keeping us alive and everything trying to kill us, then we would die pretty quick, right? Like,
Yes.
so there are things in the world that are keeping us alive, that are keeping us, maybe that are helping us have happy moments, that are helping us feel safe in some circumstances. Uh, do you have actual examples in your child's life of moments that brought her a sense of safety, that moments that brought her joy, those kind of moments?
Yes, there are many moments when, for example, yes, when we take her to the water play, she's very happy.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Yes. Even though, of
Yeah,
course, you are right that water can also be dangerous, but on the other hand, she's happy around the water and she enjoys it. You're right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe an older child who's really understanding can be safe with her, and she can enjoy being
Yes, you're right.
around the company of someone.
Mm.
Um, and so there's ways in which the world can be safe,
Yes,
right?
you're
There's
right.
ways in which, so um, I want you to kind of you can hold both thoughts. Ikra, you can hold both thoughts. We don't have the time to go more into detail about this, but I think it's fair to say that you can hold the thought that there's some parts of the world that are not safe for her, and there's some parts that are safe for her. You can have both. And if you hold both, Ikra, what happens to the anxiety?
It levels out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it levels
Yes.
out. What happens to the
Mm.
tension in your body?
It also levels out. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and can I also say like going to Pakistan, right? Like when you go there, um, it could be that some aunties don't understand what autism is, and
Yes.
you won't be ever able to explain it to them, but they're gonna have really innocent, sweet things to say.
Yes, you're
And
right. They
can you just
they
accept their
have
sweetness?
those positive reinforcements.
Yeah. Can
Yeah.
you just
Yes.
accept their sweetness and their innocence?
Yes, you're right. Yes.
Right? They're so
It's,
innocent and sweet. They have no idea about brain development, neurological
yeah.
development. They live in their own little simple world. They have very simple education. It's not bad. It's just a different way of thinking. So
Yes,
that
you're
you
right.
don't have to be concerned about that. You can explain, you should be ready to explain autism that you have in Urdu, whatever the statement, two sentences. And if they argue a little bit, then you just, okay, I don't have to win this battle with them, right? You
Yes,
don't
you're
have
right.
to win a battle with anybody. And
Mm.
so you can just say, she has a very sensitive nervous system. And so we're just trying to be really careful about A, B, and C, right?
Yes.
Um,
Right.
could you, I don't, I'm just throwing out some ideas, right? Hire some help to just somebody who's always 100% watching. If you're really concerned about something in her mouth, somebody who's always there watching all the time so that you can also see your mom, right? Because you
Yes.
also need some time with your mom. You can't have your eyes 100% of the time on Anaya, right? While your
Yeah,
mom
that's a
is
very
ill.
good idea. Very good idea because in Pakistan, we can hire someone, of
Yes,
course.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
did not come to my mind when I think of it. Yes, you're right. I
Yeah.
can do
So
that.
so see and everybody else, with Icarus situation, see when we become hyper vigilant with one thought, it shuts out all other possibilities, right?
True.
The world is 100,000% unsafe, done, finished, none. You know? And then now you're walking into a world, Ikra, which is extremely dangerous. not understanding, not loving, that of course that's going to create anxiety and tension in you. Of course it's going to. It would do for me and anybody. But when we see the world in a little more balance, when we see our thoughts with a little bit more balance, you see the answer came not because I'm a genius or I have some high IQ. It's just because I'm relaxed about it. And so that's what happens when you're relaxed, Ikra, and everybody else, your prefrontal cortex opens. Your executive functioning, your present moment thinking, it opens, your creative mind opens, and suddenly solutions that you didn't realize were right there or there.
Yeah, you're amazing. Seriously. Yeah, there are solutions, of course, and nobody can look after them like their mother and their father, of course. But yeah, of course, there are other people we can always ask for help, and we shouldn't be ashamed of it.
Yeah,
And we
yeah,
also definitely need some time from all the thinking and all the overprotectiveness. You're actually right.
yeah, yeah. You need a little bit of time.
Yes,
You
you're
need some
right.
time to relax, to your body, to your nervous system to be relaxed
Yes,
because you deserve
exactly.
that. You deserve, that's how we can be even more present, even more profound parents, is when our nervous system is regulated, not when we're always on guard constantly all the time. There's just no way that when your amygdala is running, Dr. Junot, is there any way when the amygdala is always running the show that you can actually feel safe?
No, I mean, if your amygdala is running the show and you're having thoughts that the world is unsafe, you're in fight or flight, and you're in a very primitive brain that is trying to save your life right now. And so anything that is a little bit more evolved or more complex will have to come from the prefrontal cortex, which is only online when the amygdala is feeling safe.
Yeah,
Any complex solution, any memories any connecting the dots, anything that is a little bit more evolved, is not available. And this is also true of learning anything that is not like saving your life right this second. We're connecting um, memories together when we're in fight or flight that increase our fight or flight. We're making very black and white decisions and statements, right? If we're in fight or flight, we're trying to decide as quickly as possible if someone is safe or not safe, if something is good or bad. We're very in the helpful, not helpful, good, bad. Should I fight or flight? Like, like, is this going to help me? Is this going to hurt me? And so very, very black and white. And this is also true for our children. If they are in fight or flight, all they're trying to decide is this going to kill me? Is this adult not safe? Is this kid not safe? Should I be running? All of these things. And so when the kids are in fight or flight, they don't want to try new foods, or they're less likely to want to try new foods because they're very suspicious. They're less likely to want to interact with other children because they're more suspicious and because they're trying to decide what's safe and what's not safe. They get more clingy to the things that are safe. So their safe food, their safe people, their routines, their stimming, the things that help them. So it's the same with kids. It's the same with adults. If you're feeling unsafe, and bye, Lisa. And in the past, you've had chocolate cake and it made you feel better. You were less stressed, or in that moment you had a bit of joy. What does your brain says? Boom, encode this. Remember where it is, how you found it, how it made you feel. Because you felt bad, this made you feel good. So you connect, and then like this connection becomes really strong because it was made in a moment of intense emotion. And so the same for our kids. If they make neural connections during moments of very intense emotions, these connections are very strong. And so the more we're able to make ourselves feel safe and the more we're able to model this and the more our kids have moments where they feel safe, and when they are more regulated, the more we're able to expand and stretch their comfort zone and ours. The more we're able to access a different kind of learning that is not based on should I fight or should I flight. So the more they are going to access their prefrontal cortex that is telling them how to have more creative thinking, abstract thinking, to think of solutions and answers that are a little bit more complex, that they're able
Mm-hmm.
to learn and create language, right? All of these things. And
And
I'm
you know what you just said, Milan, is that, when I take it back to Tara, so Tara's statement, she doesn't belong in a busy environment. I think a really powerful way, based on what you're saying, is that she belongs in an environment that stimulates her brain in a healthy way.
Mhm. Yeah.
Tara, like, how does that feel in you? Instead of she doesn't
That's
belong
a
in
good
a
one.
busy environment. Sorry?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, she belongs in an environment that stimulates her brain in a healthy way. Doesn't that just feel okay? Okay. And Tara, you also deserve to be in an environment that stimulates your brain in a healthy way, right? And so now we're getting somewhere. Now we're going somewhere with this, right? Her brain needs this positive stimulation. Your brain needs this stimulation. We need the prefrontal cortex to be her prefrontal cortex was shut down. That's why she ran. That was her
Mhm.
instinctual. It wasn't really her calculated, oh, okay, if I do this and then A will happen, then B, it was just like, boom, go, right? The amygdala just kind of the rocket ship, right? And so we take this all in stride based on what Milan is saying. Sorry, Milan, I interrupted. I just thought that really tied in
No,
nicely with,
I think that that's
yeah.
true, and that's how we're able to slowly stretch our comfort zone. It's like maybe speaking in front of 300 people is stressful for you, but maybe speaking with one person is fine. And then maybe five people is also fine as long as they're people that you know. And maybe like 10 people is fine if you know them and they're really close friend of yours. And then if you practice that enough, then maybe if there's 10 of your close friends, maybe there can be two of your not close friends, but you still feel like they're way outnumbered, so there's no way they can throw you tomatoes. And then if you've done a talk in front of like 10 of your close friends and two of your not close friends often enough, then maybe you're good with 15 people now. And you add three more. And then maybe parallel to that, you learn a little bit more about your communication skills and you learn a little bit more about mindful self-compassion and you develop other tools. And now maybe you can handle 20. And like we build like that. Um, and sometimes I'll talk about like maybe things that I'm doing and I'll have people say, I could never do that. I could never eat that. I could never run like that. I could never speak in front of that many people. I could never be on social
Mhm.
media. Like people will be really quick to tell me what they could not do. But what we don't think about is what we could do. What can you do right now? Maybe you can't go for a 10K run, but maybe you can walk for 10 minutes. Maybe your kid does not feel safe in a room with 40 new people or even 40 people they know. Maybe it's just too much. But maybe five or 10, if there are people that they've seen regularly, maybe that's okay. Um, and so instead of thinking about what's too much or impossible or not okay, we can think of what experiences can we bring that are supportive, like Sangeeta was saying. What are the experiences that we can expose ourselves more and then slowly stretch? And it's the same with food. So like picky eating is really just a metaphor for the world. Like honestly, it's because it's the same, right? Like it's like, oh, right now this feels safe, this feels weird, it feels different, or I don't like it, my taste buds don't like it, it's bitter, I'm not used to it. Maybe I don't have the internal digestive system built built to digest this properly, so it's making me uncomfortable, it's making me bloated. Maybe I'm still zinc and omega deficient, and so food tastes a little different. Okay, no problem. How can we stretch this just a little bit? How can we add a little bit of nutrients? How can we, like stretch slowly our comfort zone? And without even notice, like when I go running, and just because I do it frequently, I'm starting to run faster. And it's not because I'm beating myself up and I'm saying like I better run this 5K in less than X amount of time or whatever. It's just that I'm doing it and I'm getting my reps in, and sometimes I'm just walking the dog and then I start running with the dog and we're just having fun. I'm not saying like, well, I'm gonna run with the dog for at least 500 meter at a pace of 6:30. Like that's not what it is, but we're stretching our comfort zone, and slowly but surely we're getting better, right? So Sangeeta, I know we went over time, but if you still had a couple of minutes and you wanted to do something mindful with us.
Yeah. So since we've all kind of gone through this process together, let's just kind of complete on this process, right? And whatever has arisen for us. Okay, so let's just deal with what has arisen when you listen to Icarus' story, Tara's story. So let's ground ourselves first. Let's just come in this present moment, because remember, when we're grounded, we awaken our prefrontal cortex. So can we just, if it's easier, you could put your hands on your head, and if it helps you breathe more deeply, more completely, let's take 3 deep breaths. And I want you to watch the breath as you're breathing in and you're breathing out. Stay with the breath. I know there's a million things to do, there's a million stories to share. The mind weaves a very tangled web, especially when we're anxious. But when we breathe, there's freedom. Because just for these 3 breaths, all you have to do right now is breathe. Feeling into the body. You see, when we're in the body, we're out of the mind, and we're out of the stories, and we're out of that anxiety web. So try as you may throughout the day to just keep coming back to the body. If you're upset, where do I feel upset in the body? So, based on the work that we've done, is there a thought that is arising for you that has been really difficult hearing some of these stories? Is there something that you're hooked on that you're unable to let go? And and can you just notice how that feels? Notice that feeling in the body. Where does that feeling arise? Maybe it's anger, maybe it's frustration. Wherever it is and whatever it is, it's all welcome here. So just welcome that feeling and notice, where is it arising within you? For some of you, when this thought comes, maybe you stop breathing. Maybe you breathe shallow. Maybe you tense your jaw without realizing it. Just notice, where is it in my body? Don't fight it, don't resist it, just notice it and just allow it to be there. And if you feel tension in your chest, you can just say, hello, my tension. Hello, there you are. Can you let it be there without any story, without any pushing, without any pulling? And just breathe into that. And maybe you can just say some compassion statements to yourself out loud. I'm so sorry you feel so tense. I'm so sorry that situation stressed you out. I'm so sorry you always feel like you need to be on. I'm so sorry rest is not possible for you. I'm so sorry you're overwhelmed. So just like this, using these words, imagine that your higher self is saying it to your current self. Your higher self is saying it to your current self. I'm so sorry this is so difficult. I'm so sorry you can't think outside of this thought. I'm so sorry you're locked in black and white thinking. I'm so sorry it's not possible to rest. I'm so sorry your nervous system can't relax. I'm so sorry if you relax, something bad will happen. I'm so sorry you just can't get a break. I'm so sorry you believe it's selfish to put your oxygen mask on first. I'm so sorry thinking about your own happiness makes you feel like a bad parent. So just like this, your higher self is giving your current self compassion. So practicing this mini little technique throughout the day, you'll notice really giving yourself this compassion makes such a big difference in helping you move forward one step in front of the other. And sometimes when we get stuck and wrapped in our thoughts, we can remind ourselves, I'm not my thoughts. I think 70,000 thoughts in a day, and there's no way I can be every one of those thoughts. There's no way that every single one of those thoughts can be the truth. What am I missing here? And just try to come into your body, come into the breath, take a couple of deep, slow, long breaths. Allow your nervous system to relax. Allow your prefrontal cortex to wake up. And maybe an answer will just show up, just like that. So now, whatever that feeling was in your body that you welcomed, I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions around that feeling. If it was anger, let's say, can you welcome that anger? And hopefully you all have welcomed that anger or that frustration. And the next question is, could you let that go? Could you let that anger go? And if the answer is no, that's okay. You could just be with it. And if the answer is yes, I could let it go, then my next question would be, when? When can you let that go? Can you let that go just for maybe 10 seconds? Can you let that anger go maybe for 15 seconds? Maybe for a minute even? And so when I ask, when can you let that anger go or that feeling go? If the answer is now, see what it feels to let it go. See what it feels like letting it go. You know, it could be like you're on the edge of a diving board, right? And you're just scared to dive into this unknown. And it's like, what do you mean let go of this anger that's been with me for 5 years? What do you mean let it go? Just dive into the blackness? Yes, try it. It's thrilling. Dive into that blackness. Dive and let it go. You can pick it up again in a minute, no problem. But just give yourself your own grace of freedom from the weight of that emotion. See how your body feels. See how the mind feels when you let it go. And from this rested place, you can decide if you would like to pick it up again. You can decide if it served you. You can maybe there's an insight why you carry that with you. And make sure you write it in your journal with a blue pen and a piece of paper so you can always remember in the future. So taking a deep breath one more time, in and out, wiggling your toes and your fingers, opening your eyes and coming back. Hopefully that feels good. Ikra says, also, I now feel that Jen is helping me to work on Inaya's oral motor functioning. And with that, probably she will stop putting everything in her mouth and I will not have to worry anymore. With Jen on your side, there is nothing to worry about. Absolutely. Ikra, see what happened? You became a little bit more relaxed and all these solutions came. All these blessings showed up for you. Oh, I forgot I had the blessing of Jen by my side. I forgot. It happens to all of us, Ikra. You're not the only person this happens to. We forget. When we get tense, we forget. So I hope today you all remembered. You all remembered how powerful you are. You all remembered the power of your nervous system, the power of your thoughts to make or break your joy. If anybody wants to share, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to also see where your energy level is at now compared to the beginning. Ikra says, and I never feel embarrassed to share my wild thoughts. Ikra, you should not be embarrassed because you are only human. You were brave to share your thoughts. Absolutely. Because you're not the only one that thinks them, right? So thank you. Thanks. Always a good time. Thanks, Lindsay. Wonderful chat, Paul. Thank you.
So on a
What's
scale
our,
from 0 to
yeah.
10, 0 is I have zero energy, and 10 is my cup is full, and I can now pour into someone else's cup. Where is your energy now? From 0 to 10. 4 to 9.
4 to
Yay!
9. That's a good jump. Good jump. And keep giving yourself compassion, Lindsay. If something shows up and gets in the way, just take a pause and just give yourself compassion for it. Ikra says 10. Definitely
10.
so
At
much
least as an
helpful.
8,
Yeah,
9.
Jen, good, good. Excellent.
That's
Nice.
amazing.
Yeah. The power of community. Remember? The power of community.
Absolutely. Thank you so, so much, Sangeeta, for the coaching, for the mindfulness. This was absolutely phenomenal,
Wonderful.
as
Tara, you're
usual.
doing okay? Tara, you're doing okay? You feel that you're in a good space, that you have something to work with?
Yeah, I think you gotta shift, or else you just live in it forever.
Sorry?
I said you have to shift, or else you just live in the distress mode forever.
Yeah. Choose the shift every day. And the mind is going to throw you back. Always, that's what the mind does. And so it really requires a lot of awareness from us when we catch ourselves. Oh, there it comes again. You must give yourself compassion first. Wow. I really went there. I went to a dark place where felt like there was no solution, and just give yourself compassion for that. Sometimes that's what happens, and we just keep moving forward, expanding our minds, expanding our hearts, looking for other ways of being in the world. So thank you for
I
your
have
Absolutely.
some.
vulnerability today. Yes,
I
yes,
have
Paul.
something that I kind of live by, and it's a kind of apropos and kind of not. And I remind myself, and
Yeah.
it's don't let the old man in. Okay,
Don't
so
let
I
the
know
old
there's
man
no old men on this call, but
or
that's
old
what I
woman.
try to remind myself when I'm thinking the darker,
Yeah,
crazier, more thoughts that we shouldn't be thinking, that we have a different way to look at it.
yeah.
So I just
Because
wanted to share
because when
that.
the old man walks in, it's not easy to get him out, is it?
Right.
Right? We call the police, we call the fire station, call the ambulance, somebody take him out, and he's like, I'm not leaving. He locked the
Right.
doors, you know. We got a brigade outside. He's not leaving. So absolutely, that's what happens sometimes when the old man walks in. It gets harder for us. So when we just remember we're not our thoughts, and I can choose to think differently. I can choose a more empowering thought that really helps us lift out of the darkness. So thank you everyone for sharing.
Exactly.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks, ladies. Appreciate you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
See ya.